What's up, guys, and welcome back to the second episode of the NBA News and Analytic Commentary. Today is June 17th, 2021, and we're going to be discussing Game 5 of both the Atlanta Hawks versus Philadelphia 76ers series, as well as the Utah Jazz versus the Los Angeles Clippers series. First up, we have the Hawks and the 76ers, and the 76ers looked like they were going to win this game at halftime. At one point, they were up by 26, and they ended up losing this game on home court to Atlanta. Atlanta takes a 3-2 lead as they head back to their home court in Atlanta, Georgia, to look to close out the series. They're 2-1 in Philadelphia and 1-1 on home court. Now, what I want to talk about first is the Hawks. They're a legit team. I feel like they can truly compete with any team that they play against. As long as Trae Young's on the court, they're always in the game, and he is just a great leader. He leads his team to victory, and he gives them so much confidence and never tells them to give up. Except the 76ers should have won this game. Joel Embiid had a great performance. He went for 37 points. At some point, he was 8 for 8 in the first quarter. Except whenever it's clutch time, I just don't feel like the 76ers, especially Joel Embiid, can get the job done, especially in the modern NBA. I mean, Joel Embiid, whenever it's time for him to be the superstar that he is, he misses both free throws, like tonight. And in Game 4, he lost possession of the ball whenever he could have had the chance to get a layup to give the 76ers momentum and almost give them the lead. Now, I feel like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid and the 76ers are a good team, and I feel like they're a good regular season team, but when it comes to the postseason, I just don't feel like Ben Simmons can get the job done. He has no confidence in himself when it comes to scoring, and he leaves it all up to a center, which Joel Embiid is a very good player. If Nikola Jokic didn't exist, he'd be the best center in the league. Except in the modern NBA, you need to have shooters, and they have Seth Curry coming off the bench, except that's about all the 76ers have that's above average talent when it comes to shooting. And yes, they're the number 1 seed, but they can just never seem to get the job done. And Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, I just don't feel like are a good pairing. They're good, but they're not good enough to win a championship. They're just in the hole where they contend for the playoffs. They might go fairly far, except they just can't win a championship. And the process, in my opinion, hasn't failed Philadelphia, but it definitely hasn't succeeded for Philadelphia. And Doc Rivers, he's going to get fired for this. I believe Atlanta is going to win this series, whether it's in 6 or 7, most likely in 6 since it'll be on home court, but I think there's a good chance that the 76ers can push it to 7. But the way they choked, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose a Game 7 on home court. And Doc Rivers is known for choking when he was with the Clippers, and many say that that culture might have mixed with the 76ers whenever they signed him and the Clippers signed Tyronn Lue, which ironically enough, he was the coach for the Cavaliers when they came back down 3-1 in the finals, and they have a 3-2 series lead against the Jazz when they were down 2-0, but we'll get to that in a minute. But it's just so unfortunate to be a 76ers fan right now, because I really don't believe that this is a squad that can even make the finals, let alone win an NBA championship. And it's very unfortunate, because Embiid has a lot of talent, Simmons has a lot of talent other than shooting the basketball. He's below average in that category, but they just can't get the job done together. Joel needs a scorer to pass him the ball in the post, not a defensive man. And I know Joel Embiid will be a 76er for a long time, but Ben Simmons, I could see him being gone in a few years, because I just don't believe the two work well enough together to the point where they can win an NBA Finals. They're up by 26, and they lost at home in a game that would have given them a 3-2 series advantage, and they would have had to win 1 game out of 2. And then they would have home court advantage against either the Brooklyn Nets or the Milwaukee Bucks. And the way it looks is it'll be the Nets, as they're up 3-2. Game 6 is tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm rooting for the Bucks to win that series. I believe they can win a Game 6 on home court. With Kevin Durant and James Harden, there won't be a Kyrie Irving. But we'll have to see. But that's right, the 76ers falling for the second time in a row against the Hawks, and just proving why you should never turn off an NBA playoff game. Many probably changed the channel to the NHL series between the Montreal Canadiens and the Vegas Golden Knights, which I still watch. It's very entertaining. I follow the NHL as well. But it's never over, especially come playoff time, and you have Trae Young as your point guard and Lou Williams coming off the bench. I mean, he was the sixth man of the year for the Clippers. You have him coming off the bench, and then you have Clint Capella. They just have some very solid role players, and then they have Trae Young to carry the load. And that is a team that I think can at least put up a fighting chance against a team like the Brooklyn Nets, assuming they advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. And the Nets would be the higher seed, so they would have home court advantage if there were to be a Game 5 and a Game 7, which I don't think it would be a sweep, so I do think there would be at least a Game 5. But yes, 76ers fans are shocked. I would hate to live in Philadelphia right now and turn on the radio. They're probably calling for Doc Rivers' head right now, probably asking for Ben Simmons to be traded, and I really feel like the 76ers need to find a shooter, and they do have Seth Curry, and they do have Thibault, but that's just not good enough, especially when Curry's coming off of the bench, because they just need a true shooter to put them over the hump that actually starts. In the next game, we have the Utah Jazz versus the Los Angeles Clippers here in Utah. Series is tied 2-2. The Clippers were able to get their third win in a row in the series and put them at a 3-2 advantage heading back to LA for a Game 6 tomorrow on Saturday. And I was very impressed with the performance of Paul George. He has a bad reputation for being a choker in the playoffs, but he came to play tonight. He dropped over 30 points, and you wouldn't have even thought that Kawhi Leonard was out. And this game was in Utah, so they stole a game in one of the best environments when it comes to the NBA playoffs that I've personally ever seen in my life. The Phoenix Suns, shout out to them too, they have a great crowd. But Donovan Mitchell, once again, he performed well, but not well enough. I still feel like that injury is bothering him. And we'll have to see who wins Game 6. It could be a 7-game series. I don't honestly know. I feel like it could go either way. Game 6 will be a toss-up, even though it's in Los Angeles. But this once again proves that the Clippers are never out of the series. They were down 2-0 against the Dallas Mavericks. They came back and won in 7. They were down 2-0 against the Jazz. And now they're up 3-2, looking to close it out on home court on Saturday. And Paul George, that's the playoff P that I feel like he truly could be. He stepped up to the plate and he hit a home run. So I'm excited to watch the Nets-Bucks tonight. Put your score predictions down below, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.